Today I'm honored to share with you the inspirational writings of Michael Markham. These writings are from his beautiful book, I Am This, Reflections of Enlightenment. All of his links will be in the description below, including the link to this book. Please check him out and enjoy. Many believe, and the belief is supported by most living teachers, that sages live in some stupor-filled bliss beyond the human condition. That could not be further from the truth. One has only to examine the secret lives of sages in order to dispel such thinking. After awakening, the more primitive reptile brain is unaffected by the objectified apprehension of emptiness, and the body reactive machinery is still driven by 100 million years of evolution. Like all humans, each sage is uniquely wired. They experience anxiety, depression, loneliness, anger, and loss. Their emotional reactions cover the complete and colorful human spectrum. But awareness as them depersonalizes and embraces its own reactions as simply the way things are, and life flows along for the most part unclouded by harsh judgments and devoid of the desire to manipulate what is. This objectified awareness is all and everything you have been seeking as enlightenment or awakening. This awareness that you are aware right now, just as you are, is it. It includes and embraces your desire to get it. You reading these words, the light that allows you to see, the weight of your body, the soft sound of your breath, and your awareness of them. It is almost too simple to comprehend. There is no way around or through this. Even the apprehension that nothing can be understood is the belief in an entity that understands that. Things they don't tell you, or things you may not want to know about enlightenment. Enlightenment is not experiencing life as constant bliss or happiness. Enlightenment is not living above the normal and natural human travails. Enlightenment is not seeing all things as one big thing. Enlightenment is merely an objectifying human brain experiencing its perceived world as a conceptual overlay. It is a human brain that has seen through its own charade and depersonalized the shared dream of separation. Ultimately, it is seeing through that which never existed. Ultimately, it is nothing at all. She was dying, a fact that seemed oblivious to her. Slowly, with her cane, she walked to the center of where we all sat. Looking around, she focused on several people. "Well," she said in a soft voice, "your time has come, but first you must know you will be alone. Ultimately, and totally alone. Oh, I know you have felt alone most of your life, but you have never tasted this aloneness. Everything and everyone you know and love will be taken away, and you will be left gazing upon an unknown, unknowable place in which everything will be strangely unfamiliar. You may think that you have gone crazy, and that may last for a while. Chances are high that there will be no one around to share what's happening. There will be no handholds and nowhere to stand. You can't even find constellations that used to comfort you. Are you ready? There is an ancient mystique that surrounds enlightenment. Ultimately, it is an imaginary condition in which the persona lives a stress-free life beyond the world of the everyday human travails. It is as old as the mind's yearning for peace. It is the mind's yearning for peace. Over the years, the quest for it has occupied the lives of literally billions of searchers. It is the idealized, earthy equivalent of paradise, Canaan, Arcadia, the Promised Land, the happy hunting grounds, the kingdom come. The list goes on and on across all cultures. Part of this mystique involves the belief that there walks among us those who have attained enlightenment and have the power to transmit it to others. Ultimately, there is no such thing as enlightenment, and no entity to attain it. There is, however, a fundamental shift in which the human brain can experience the manifest universe that differs profoundly from the norm. How it is attained is unknown, and that will remain beyond the scope of objectified thinking. Viewed from this perspective, the mind apprehends that it is defined by the very limitations against which it has been struggling. It simply accepts its limited, objectified window into the manifest universe and embraces the entire spectrum of the human condition, with all its pain and joy. It relaxes into the natural flow, unclouded by personal intent. You may or may not be able to follow your dreams and expectations. You may or may not attain that which you want the most. Life will take you where it will, with or without your input. Actually, it doesn't even know you are here I suppose that is because you aren't. The only thing you can count on is whatever happens will always be unexpected and exciting. And if you were able to chart your course through the most wonderful universe, you would sell yourself short, and you would lose everything that makes life worth living. Okay, here's the lowdown. You are not even going to be permanently happy. And when you think about it, that really wouldn't be so great. About the best you can hope for is an upswing of the feel-good chemicals in your brain when things are going the way you want. But there is another perspective that is available in which awareness flows along its natural course, unclouded by personal intent. And the brain finds its sense of self delightfully suspended between everything and nothing at all. There can come an understanding that the sense of personal identity is a conceptual, mnemonic fabrication that arises in the frontal cortex. When that understanding percolates down through the synaptic interface and becomes fully integrated, a profound shift in perspective occurs. The sense of self remains, but life is no longer personalized, and all the self's travails are seen as a sublime drama. The person's existential angst is no longer the lens through which the world is viewed. The entire manifestation of imaginary separation is now perceived as beautiful swirling colors, playing their patterns out on the surface of a sublime quiescence. And all of that now appears to be who one is. For the lack of better words, that experiential palette is referred to as the gate. Although the attempt to confirm the experience to a conceptual context may vary, there is a common feeling tone that resonates through those who have been tossed by life into the edgelessness. They are no longer defined by ideas and beliefs. Their personal history has become irrelevant. There is a definite intuitive feeling that there is simply nobody there. But what remains is light, warm, and delightfully elusive. They have a buoyant sense of humor, and to each other, the only thing imaginary is the space between them. This simple awareness, aware that it is aware, is it? This joy of a loved one's embrace, this memory of a loved one lost, this pain in the back and an ache in the heart, this cacophony of swirling emotions, this awareness of growing old, and these memories of being young, this objectified awareness that you are alive, that you are here, right now. This is all there is to it. There is nothing you can do to find it. There is no such thing as enlightenment. There is no such thing as a spiritual path. There is nothing higher or lower than you in the entire universe. Oh, I know that you have heard this before, and you may have to hear it 10,000 times before it dawns that you are the living jewel, just as you are. Okay, here's the lowdown. It's far simpler than you think. It's so simple that the normal reactive mind will find it almost too elusive to grasp. Sentience is life's longing for those things that fulfill its mandate to survive and reproduce. Life is a program, a highly evolved program. Some microorganisms long for the sun. Some microorganisms long for the darkness. Some are programmed to travel north, some south. Some seek oxygen, and some cannot live in the presence of oxygen. Every living organism is a never-ending search for aliveness. The only difference between you and a fox in the forest is your brain has objectified its perpetual input and has created a consensus conceptual overlay, dream, that it has mistaken for reality. This program searches for things that exist only as ideas and has no actual physical reality at all. Things, actual material things, the physical acquisition of which will offer only temporary relief from the programmed, ever-present emptiness. Things immaterial, the acquisition of which can only be imagined, will never fulfill this hunger. I know you have nagging questions concerning the nature of reality and your place in it. I did too. They followed me like hungry dogs. I searched for 50 years, always cutting the imaginary distance in half. It always felt that I was getting close to the missing piece, the right combination of words that would flip the switch. I had no idea what enlightenment or awakening was, but I knew I wanted it. There are many out there who will offer relief for the pain, a band-aid, or a soothing ointment. You actually do begin to feel better for a little while, but the disease always returns. There are only a few who live on the outskirts of the Shadowland, who will rip the band-aid off and expose the wound to the open air. Well, your little salt doll is standing on the edge of the river. In front of you is the vast, flowing, unknown, unknowable edgelessness. I know. You were thinking that the land of milk and honey lay just ahead, and now you are experiencing the feeling that many have felt before you. It is a profound lostness, and yet something about it feels strangely familiar. This is what you asked for, but did not expect. The sinuous liquefaction of everything is streaming by now, and you turn your back one more time, one last look at the familiar. But there is only nothing. You can see the rippling wetness playing with your toes, and you know what's going to happen now, don't you? Okay, let's face it. You're never going to attain that profound happiness and contentment you have been led to believe is out there, somewhere. Sentience of which you are a facet simply did not evolve to be fulfilled. It evolved to search for those things and events that temporarily satisfy its mandate to survive and reproduce, not to find them. That is our condition. That is who we are and will be until the day we die. If the shift in perspective of which we speak occurs in the brain that you think of as yours, that will not change. You are life's objectified longing. There comes, however, a most open depersonalization of our condition and a profound sense of compassion in the deeply integrated knowing that ultimately we are each other. So one part of you wants to get a handhold on itself and transcend the limitations of personal identity. In that effort, it will follow recommendations of those who appear to have accomplished this great escape. It will try to quiet its roof brain chatter or alter its normal reaction in its attempt to attain a goal that it can't even define. But it knows that it wants something different than what it sees as its own mundane, stress-filled existence. Seldom does it dawn that it is nothing more than the attempt to escape its own imaginary existence. Seldom does it dawn that it is right now the best that life has to offer. And all this time, everything it ever wanted is everything it already is. Sometimes it feels hopeless, because it is. Sometimes it feels useless, because it is. Sometimes you feel alone, because you are. And you know that just out there beyond the darkness is more darkness. It all simmers down to this presence, this aliveness, this sparkling awareness flowing in, around, and through whatever's happening. You are a tiny, temporary spark, and yet you are the light of the world. Love and beauty come alive and live in your chest, and all you have to do is look. As personas, human beings exist in isolation. In a few, that imagined condition is just too painful to endure, and they spend their time searching for a way out of their imaginary confinement. They tap on the walls, hoping to make contact with another prisoner. Their stories and days are scattered on every available space. They try to get a glimpse of the world outside, the colors of the unknown. It seldom dawns that they are being dreamt. It seldom dawns that they are themselves the walls and the writing. And it almost never dawns that they are the only place in which the universe gets a fleeting glimpse of its own wonder and majesty. Enlightenment, or awakening, exists in the objectified brain as a thing. Things are the coin of the land. They are mental fabrications and part of the dream separation that defines us. This is so damn hard to talk about. As a persona, you emerge and exist only as a living collage of beliefs about separate things and memories of what appear to be separate events that have no actual existential reality and are entirely self-referential. Seekers are among the few that suspect that something isn't quite right. And like all objectifying brains, are programmed to remedy what appears to be a malfunction. Rarely does it dawn that it's all an inside job, and the brain is struggling against a problem and searching for a cure to a disease that exists only within its own ideation. There comes to mind the most delightful embracing of self and the limitations that define its world. The programming of 100 million years of evolution is seen as a beautiful gift, and the mind accepts with gentleness its nature and biological urges, but is no longer impelled to act upon them. No longer does it obsess over improving its status, and just relaxes into the ease and joy of simply being. What if enlightenment is merely a slight shift in the way a brain sees the world? Just a change of focus. What if it is merely the result of a brain that has been prompted by life circumstances to reestablish its own natural equilibrium? What if it simply remembers the sublime swirling quiescence into which it was born, and somehow knows that it exists? What if they told you that the brain that has created you out of its own mnemonic debris has developed a wobble in its orbit, and all that seeking is merely its own desire for its own intuited inborn completeness? What if someone told you that there is no need to transform or to transcend the only reality you can ever know? What if they told you that this ever-emerging moment is the best that life has ever had to offer, and that you, right now, you are the most beautiful jewel the universe has ever known? What if you are the only window through which the vastness can know and love itself? Could you live with that? This is it. There is nothing bigger or better going on. There are no secrets kept from you. There are no keys for doors that never existed. There never has been anyone, anywhere, that knows more about things imaginary than you. There is nothing you can do to make yourself better or more complete. You are awareness, aware that it is aware. You are the window that evolved to let the universe get a fleeting glimpse of its own mystery and unspeakable beauty. You are the only place in the universe where love grows and blossoms. Right now, you, just as you are more beautiful than you could ever imagine.